Hey, Mayor Jeff Schielke here on Friday, May 15th, 2020, with the latest report on the corona issues surrounding the city of Batavia. I want to begin today on a very sober note. I was informed yesterday of the passing of Jim Benson, who for over 30 years was the city building inspector. And Jim was not only the city building inspector, but he was also a very active member of the Batavia Volunteer Fire Department. And there was many a times when he would basically leave his inspection after he got it completed and chase the fire truck, the ambulance or whatever, because he had the fire service in his heart at all times, as well as his great job as our building inspector. He retired from the city a few years back and has succumbed to some illnesses, and I was told yesterday that he has passed, and so I just wanted to express to his wife Sue and their family on behalf of the entire community of Batavia our great regret. Jim's name and actions are on hundreds of buildings in this town that he saw the foundations being made, and he oversaw the plans and reviewed the plans, and so much of what you see on Randall Road is one example are buildings that probably Jim Benson had his name on their permit in some form or fashion. So Jim, we thank you for some outstanding service to the citizens of Batavia. Today I just got a few announcements before I talk a little bit about the situation in town. We have some interesting ideas on what Batavia should be doing to kind of record what the actual activities are and have been as it revolves around the corona situation. And Dan Hofler, the president of the Batavia Historical Society, contacted me the other day and reported that Amber Foster, who is at the Depot Museum, is helping the Historical Society gather information, and they're asking people who have specific comments or details or memories of what their experience has been in the last few weeks, if they would write them down, because they want to kind of compile this in kind of a community record for future generations to have as to how we dealt with it, what were some of the problems, what were the successes, and what were some of the strategies that were used by the community as we worked with our surrounding area to overcome this dreaded disease which has taken such a terrible toll on our country. So that is, if you've got an idea, please feel free to call down to the Depot Museum, ask for Amber, or you can send it down. I'm sure you can find the address on the webpage, or just put it in the mail to them, because they would like to have as many ideas and thoughts as they possibly can for this paper that they want to put together on Batavia and the coronavirus issue. I will tell you that we are very pleased in the community by some of the actions that we are seeing by people in a time when there's a lot of stress and strain and people are dismayed and dismissed by things that are happening. Some people are doing some stuff to kind of spruce things up, and there's a couple of stores and businesses I'd like to mention. One is our 6 Plus Cypress women's clothing store over at the northeast corner of River and Wilson Street. They have done a dynamic job with their windows and changed their displays and the colors and whatever. And while they can't be open under the current order of the governor, they certainly are doing all their best to portray Batavia as a great place to shop and have opportunities. And immediately right across the street from them is the Boardwalk Shops, which a hardy group of volunteer Batavians has taken it under their wings, and with the support of Batavia High School's classes that are dealing in construction. They have built 8 buildings over there that will be opening later this summer, and will be offering retail activities and retail services to people on an ongoing basis. And a police report that we had more applicants for the buildings than we had buildings, and so we've got probably a waiting list of people wanting to come into River and Wilson and see what they can do at the Batavia Boardwalk Shops. Another business that I'd like to mention is Limestone Coffee and Tea on West Wilson Street, just to the west of the bridge on the south side of the street. They've done a really nice job of kind of serving coffee and tea in kind of reverse circumstances. Sometimes they have to bring it out to you, sometimes you have to knock on the door, but their products are excellent, and their spirit is one of the best we've seen. And we're very blessed in Batavia to have them, and Red Hive, which is right next door. They're not open either, but They certainly have the best interests of Batavia at heart, and I would encourage you all, if you haven't been to those businesses yet, to do so. And one final one I want to mention today is special occasions up at the corner of Batavia Avenue and Wilson Street under Mary Marconi. I don't know how many of you have noticed, but Mary's been changing the outfits and the dresses almost on every other day. It seems like she's got a different color array in there, and I'm sure it's kind of spruced things up and incited people and got people smiling as they go by and see yet a different color in the window at Marconi's special occasion. So I just want to highlight those businesses as people who are really trying to do a lot of great things. I've had a lot of people in talking to me about things that they're trying to do while the economy is down and people aren't working. Lots of people are telling me that they're doing cleaning out of their houses, they're cleaning in their crawl spaces and their attics and their basements and garages, and I'm told that a lot of them are thinking they're going to have a lot of material for garage sales. And then I've had a lot of other people tell me, well, they've gone and bought extra plants this year or shrubbery or trees to plant, so there's a lot of that going on. I've also had several grandparents who I know are beloved by their grandchildren tell me that they're thinking about trying to, in some way, shape, or form, construct a swimming pool, either in ground or above ground, as part of their patio or their children's patio. So there's a lot, and others are talking about putting up playground equipment in their backyard. So there's a lot of people with all this time at home. A lot of us are putting it to very good use, and we're trying to be creative and show our support for our families. And I think that speaks very, very well of Batavia. The thing I guess I would like to share with you is that right now we are still under the governor's order. There's been a lot of conversations and a lot of headlines issued about certain governments are even thinking about trying to step away from it or not wanting to follow through on what the governor has asked people to do. I would just ask everybody to be as understanding and as cooperative as they possibly can be, because it really is a very serious situation. I'm aware of at least 3 or 4 people now in Batavia who I believe have passed away because of some connection to corona disease. I know we have a number who are at home right now under self-containment or confinement because they've been advised by their doctors to take a 2-week absence from the world and just stay home and take medicine and get themselves better. And so this is a serious issue. We are having some fatalities. Our numbers have been very good in comparison to a lot of others in the area, and I certainly would like to keep it that way. And another one I'd like to take my hat off to and give a thumbs up is to the great work that's being done by all the senior living communities in Batavia. Every one of them has risen to the occasion. They're watching their doors, they're checking their residents, they're checking their food, they're being as diligent and as protective as they possibly can be, and we've had a pretty good run of success of not having a lot of intake of corona. We want to keep it that way. So I just want to encourage everybody to fight the good fight. Hopefully this will soon be over. And certainly one of the things that I'm most interested in is getting some of our small businesses open, specifically the restaurants and the beauty shop and the barber shop and the hair salons and the nail polish and finishing people. Those are the folks that I think have really taken kind of a bad hit here, and we want to do everything we can to get them open as soon as possible. I'm sure when they are reopening, there's going to be some need to have some leeway about probably asking everybody that comes in the door to wear a mask and be socially distanced, and to be maybe appointed times that they come so we don't fill the place up with a whole bunch of people that are, somehow or another going to get into the way and do stuff that will be of a negative nature. I will tell you that one of the things that I am heartened by is the number of people I talk to in Batavia who take such great pride of being a grandparent. And they just love their grandchildren. This is really good to see. And they want to take as much precaution as they possibly can to make sure that their grandchildren don't get any type of disease. And that's one of the loudest voices I hear in town these days, is from grandparents who really sincerely are wanting to be with their grandchildren and probably can't be because of restrictions by doctors and whatever have you. And so my heart goes out to all of you who are going through this right now, because there is a real, I think, passion, and grandparenting is one of Batavia's proudest attributes, and one that I think the community is very, very pleased to have so many that are. I'm told by realtors that one of the strongest real estate buying instincts in Batavia is the number of grandparents that want to buy into Batavia because they live someplace else, but their grandchildren live here, so they want to buy a house in Batavia to get near their grandchildren. So grandchildren are a big thing, a big part of our community, and with all these senior living communities that we have another very large one under construction out at Fabian and Randall Road, as you probably have seen, and that will be opening later this year, but we will be having our strong share of grandparents living in this town, and we just want to make sure everybody that's in that business is acknowledged for their passion that they have for their grandchildren. So I'm honored today to announce that we're going to continue this without having to look at me. We have a very talented photo studio in town called Shumway Studios, which is at 30 South Shumway Avenue, which is at the second floor of the old Batavia City Hall building, right where First Street and Shumway come together. And for the real old timers in the room, that's where the Batavia Fire Station used to be, right to the north of this building. It's now a big open empty space. And on the first floor was largely the offices of the Batavia Police Department for the last few years before they were moved up here to where we have now at the city. And that certainly was a memorable spot for a lot of people when that police department was there. We had some really, truly outstanding employees who worked for the Batavia Police Department at that location. And they worked under very crowded and condensed circumstances, because we basically were running the police department out of about a 2-room operation there with 2 jail cells. And it was about as austere as you could possibly be. But we had some of the greatest people you can ever know of that worked in that department as officers or as clerks or secretaries, or people that really understood what the business was all about. And under kind of very tight circumstances, we did a very good thing. So I have pleasant memories of that building. But now we have Shumway Studio, and Ed and Thad, who are the owners of that, have gone out and made a video of Quiet Batavia, and we're going to show you. I guess everybody's got a link on your phone or your TV or your computer or however you're watching us, and this will show you how to click that link. This is only a few minutes long. It doesn't run real long, but I think you'll get a new appreciation for really some of the quality of Batavia, and certainly for some of the new businesses that are running into our community. And certainly Shumway Studios is one that I want to highly recommend to you, and I'm sure you can find them on the computer, or you can find their phone number if you call information, because if you're looking for somebody to make specifically a video for you, they are an outstanding firm and one that I would highly recommend. So I'm going to end today with that message, and I would encourage you all to continue to keep your noses clean and your face healthy, and let us overcome this corona issue in the very, very near future. Thank you, Batavia. See you next week. Jeff Schielke, once again. I want to throw a postscript on this week's message. A couple of things. Number one, the Batavia Interfaith Food Pantry continues to supply a whole bunch of goodwill and good efforts for hundreds of local residents, and they can always use an infusion of new stock. So if you'd like to make them either a financial donation or show up there with a couple bags of grocery down at their headquarters, which is on South Shumway Avenue at Flynn Street, right to the west of the Batavia Water Treatment Plant, I'm sure that would be greatly and fondly appreciated. So I'd encourage you to do that if you're so inclined. Also today I want to call your attention that the Batavia Ministerial Association Housing Relief Fund is going to have a special benefit this coming Monday, May 18th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Raising Cane's at 998 McKee Street, which is on the southeast corner of McKee Street and Randall Road. And I think most people in town know where Raising Cane's are. And the Cane's is going to donate 15% of the sales generated during that time period to the Batavia Ministerial Association Housing Relief Fund. And This is the ministers of all of our churches in Batavia have gotten together and formed this group, and they do a lot of wondrous and very quiet work in support of a lot of needy and supportive people. So I really want to encourage us all to do that. And please join with me in going out to get some Raising Cane on Monday the 18th between 4 and 9 p.m. and support this great cause. Thanks again, and again, have a great week.